Hello, my name is MooingCat, and earlier today the Guild Expedition update was released on the live servers. After only 3 weeks of testing on the beta servers with 3 different versions on the beta servers, so really we've only been testing it for 1 week on beta, they decided to release the Guild Expedition level 5 and also the other updates to the Guild Expedition. And I'll admit I'm a little bit surprised to see it come out this early after the testing started on beta. And I definitely think it could have benefited with a couple more weeks of testing on beta. But it is what it is. So in this video, I want to give you an overview of the changes and how things work now with the update. Now I do already have a video going over the rewards that you can get in the new level, in Guild Expedition level 5. So if you want to learn more about those, I recommend checking out my first impressions video of the new level. You can find that linked in the description. I also have a playthrough of the final level from beta, where I negotiated my way through the entire level. Nothing has changed in terms of negotiating since then, so if you want to see how that works, you can check out my video on that, also linked in the description. So in this video, I will show you a little bit about Guild Expedition level 5. I will show you by far the easiest way of fighting your way through the level, which unfortunately does involve getting higher age units, so not that easy, I guess, but yeah, you can see how easy it is with higher age units, which is another reason why they are so broken nowadays. But the main thing I do want to talk about in this video is the changes to level 1, 2, 3, and 4, because they have also been updated. And while there are some good news, some good updates in there, there are some big negative, some big nerfs as well in those changes. So I wanted to make this video to point all of those out. So that's what I will do first. Then I will talk a little bit more about Guild Expedition level 5, and then I will show how you can fight your way through it with higher age units at the end of this video. Alright, let's start by first comparing the old Guild Expedition rewards to the new Guild Expedition reward. And here I'm talking about level 1, 2, 3, and 4, because yeah, as I mentioned, those have been updated. Now the biggest update, the main update, is that all the buildings, individual buildings, have been removed from the rewards. So all the regular buildings like houses, culture buildings and so on, all of those have been removed, but also all of the Guild Expedition specific buildings like the Gate of the Sun God, Tribal Square and so on, those have now been removed as individual rewards, and you can now instead get them from selection kits. So there are now 4 new selection kits. You have a level 1 selection kit, a level 2 selection kit, a level 3 selection kit, and a level 4 selection kit. From the level 1, you can get Gate of the Sun God and Face of the Ancient and the upgrade. From the level 2 kit, you can get the Ritual Flame and the upgrade. From level 3, you can get Tribal Square, Sacred Skywatch and the upgrade. And finally, the level 4 kit, you can get a Terrace Farm or a Terrace Farm upgrade kit. Originally, you could also get Fountain of Youth and Fountain of Youth Shrink kit in this level 4 selection kit here, but those have now been separated out from this kit, and you can now get them as individual rewards, or fragments of them as individual rewards. And we can definitely see that there are a lot more fragments now. I'll get back to that in a moment. So yeah, that's the main big change, that all of the buildings, the way you get them now, are different. You get them as, well, as fragments of selection kits, but more on that in a moment. The other rewards has also been changed. So let's go through them one by one and see which have been improved and which ones haven't been improved. So first of all, Forge Points is definitely the biggest winner, I think, in terms of improvement. You now get almost 3.62% times more Forge Points than before. So almost 170 Forge Points per Guild Expedition on average now, compared to around 47 in the past. So a very big difference there. Another big difference with the new rewards compared to the old rewards are previous age goods. which do come in handy in the final level. So those have been increased massively as well. The amount of current age goods have actually been decreased slightly, but overall you do still get more total goods now than you did before. Now around 190 on average per week, compared to around 145, 150 per week in the past. So overall, when it comes to fort points and goods, the changes are quite positive. That brings me on to one of the big nerfs, and that is, well, probably no surprise, diamonds. The number of diamonds you can get have been nerfed. It has been lowered to roughly half of what you could get before. Before you could get around 160, and now it's around 80 per week. And the way you get the diamonds now, you get them from the 3 first big encounters in level 4. On each of these encounters, you have a 30% chance of getting 90 diamonds, which on average is 81 diamonds per week. So the diamonds have been shifted from the 3rd encounter in each section of level 4 to the 4th encounter, the first 3 of them. And where you got diamonds in the past, you now get units. So you do get 12 additional units. So from encounter 3, 7, and 11, so that is the 3rd encounter in each of the first 3 sections of Guild Expedition level 4, you now get units like you do in all the previous levels. So that you get 4 each, so you get 12 additional units for 36 in total. So yeah, depending on your city, this can be quite a lot, quite a nice change. And I think even for those who don't really need those units, I think it's nice to have, especially if during events, for example, if you need to recruit some units, you have some additional options on level 4, so I think that's quite nice. Another small increase is Temple of Relics blueprints. That has increased from around 2 to around 3 now, so not a big change, or relatively quite a big change, but in terms of numbers, not that big of a change. Similarly with blueprints, they have been lowered by around 1 blueprint per guild expedition per week, but again, not really that big of a deal. So yeah, I don't really think the blueprints have changed that, but probably not a big deal for most people. The number of extra attempts you can get in the encounters have also been decreased from around 15 to around 11 in total. And that, well, it depends on if you rush through the levels or not. If you do rush through the levels, this is a nerf. But if you don't, then you could probably look at this as a buff. Because if you get fewer attempts, you get more of the other rewards. So yeah, I don't really think there's too big of a difference here. Or I don't really think it matters too much. But there is a difference. So there's that. So yeah, when it comes to the rewards you get, excluding the buildings for now, most of these are positive, with a big exception when it comes to the diamonds you can get. Alright, let's move on to the buildings. So here I have compared the amount you could get in the past of each of these separate items within a selection kit and added all of them up. So in the past, you could get just above 1 full building out of these, or one of these every week on average. So how about now? Well, these selection kits, they come as fragments. Surprise, surprise. You need 100 fragments to get each of these kits, and if you play through all the first 4 levels, you are guaranteed to get 100 fragments each of the first 3 selection kits. So that means that each week you are guaranteed to get a level 1, level 2, and level 3 selection kit. When it comes to the level 4 selection kit, on average, you will get 100 fragments. So on average, you will get 1 level 4 selection kit every week. But the way you get them is that you get them from the final encounter on the first 4 levels. So on each of those, you have a 50% chance of getting some Guild Expedition level 4 selection kit fragments. You have a 25% chance of getting Fountain of Youth fragments, and a 25% chance of getting Fountain of Youth shrink kit fragments. So you can get between 0 and 200 fragments for the level 4 selection kit. On average, you will get 100 per week. So here again, we can look at this as one selection kit every week, level 4 selection kit. So before I move on to the Fountain of Youth, if you just look at these, the amount of buildings from the level 1 kit, they stay roughly the same in terms of raw numbers. But with this new selection kit, you do have more choice, so you can better choose which of these options you want. So overall, I think this is a positive, a nice change when it comes to the Ritual Flame. That is almost doubled, which is definitely nice. Not really a building that I place too much, but who knows? With the new Guild Expedition, you might consider placing it. So yeah, double the amount, and you do also have the flexibility of the selection kit. You can choose the main or the level 1 building and the upgrade, so quite nice. The Guild Expedition level 3 kit here stays roughly the same at around 1 per week. That's what you could get in the past. But again, you do have the benefit of it being a selection kit, so you do have more choice of which one of these you want. So again, I think this is quite a nice positive change. And then when it comes to the terrace farms, the level 4 selection kit, you now get twice as much as you did in the past. In the past, you had around a 25% chance each of the level 1 and the upgrade. You now have, on average, 100% chance of one of these. So yeah, more or less doubled the number of terrace farm and or terrace farm upgrade kits, which is a very nice change indeed. But all of these positives here do come at the expense of Fountain of Youths. Again, no big shocker. The other way of producing diamonds from Guild Expedition has also been nerfed. So in the past, you could get a Fountain of Youth, roughly speaking, every 4th week, slightly below that, 0.23% chance every week. And the Fountain of Youth Shrink Kit, you could get half of that every week, or one every 2 weeks on average. That has now been lowered to 1 full Fountain of Youth every 16 weeks on average, and 1 Shrink Kit every 16 weeks on average. So that is a massive nerf. Almost 4 times lower the amounts of Fountain of Youths, and the Shrink Kits, so that's 6 times lower, 7 times lower, something like that. So both of these have been nerfed massively compared to before, which combined with the diamond nerf makes it quite clear what their goal was with the rebalancing of Guild Expedition level 1, 2, 3, and 4. They wanted to lower the amount of diamonds you could produce, which I, of course, as a player, I really don't like this. This is one of the last remaining ways of producing diamonds. We also have to consider that in practice, as long as you are negotiating level 5, that will cost you diamonds, unless you're willing to spend additional goods on additional attempts. But yeah, that will also cost you diamonds. I think probably somewhere between 50 and 100 diamonds per week on average. So in practice, I think this is, if you negotiate level 5 and you spend those diamonds, you can more or less look at this as removal of diamonds completely from Guild Expedition. So a massive nerf when it comes to diamonds. And if you are working on a diamond farm, for example, a Guild Expedition diamond farm, the amount of Fountain of Youths you can get, which was already quite low, has now been lowered significantly. And yeah, these 2 changes here would make me stop playing on any secondary worlds I was playing Guild Expedition on. It would definitely not be worth it for me anymore to play there. It's of course up to you. I do think for new players, the changes to forge mines and goods, and also the terrace farm upgrades, I think all of those changes will make the new system better for new players. I think it will help them grow faster, which is nice. Will help them grow their great buildings faster. They will be able to get more forge points from the Guild Expedition, but also place some terrace farms, which I think are still very good buildings early on to place in your city, when you still have a lot of space that you don't really know how to fill. Some terrace farms, I think that's very nice to have. So I think early on the changes will be quite positive. But once you have established yourself as a player, and especially late game players, this is quite a big nerf in my opinion, because then you probably don't care about any of these buildings. So yeah, that's the changes to Guild Expedition level 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know if I mentioned it, but in terms of the fighting and negotiating in these levels, the encounters themselves, they stay exactly the same. Same armies, same boosts, same negotiation cost, and so on. So nothing there has changed. It's only the rewards that have changed in level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, so that's level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's go over to level 5. Before I show the video, just want to quickly talk about it. The negotiation cost on the final encounter in level 4, it is 9. In the first encounter on level 5, it is 10. So yeah, immediately we see a massive increase from the previous levels. We can see that the cost you need, so each time you spend goods, you have to spend either 10, 16, 20, and so on goods each time. And that goes all the way up to 78 goods for each option. And each of these, all of these encounters here have 10 options to choose from. So that means that you do need to have the tavern boost on. If you don't have that on, it will be very hard to complete. But even with the tavern boost, I think you have around a 60% chance of completing an encounter with the 4 attempts. So again, you do have to spend some diamonds to buy additional attempts, unless you want to reset. In terms of goods cost, I have gone over this in the past, but roughly speaking, if you negotiate every encounter, it will come out to around 10,000 goods. 10,000 goods per week. And this will be roughly 5,500 current age goods and 4,500 previous age goods. At least if you prioritize using current age goods, which I think most people probably should. So that means that if you do want to negotiate, you should prioritize getting or producing a lot of goods. You need 1,500 per day to sustain this. And again, you do need to have a decent chunk of that be previous age productions, unless you're able to downtrade, which would be very nice. I think what probably will become quite common moving forward is that when you move up an age, you should probably leave most, if not all, of your goods producing event buildings in the previous age. That way you can produce previous age goods there, and then in the current age you can produce them through Chateau, for example. If you are in the space ages, you can produce current age goods through the colony. You can produce a lot there, so that's definitely going to be nice. And yeah, in general, it's easier to produce current age goods, so it's probably going to be smart to leave a lot of buildings in the previous age moving forward. So that's the goods costs. When it comes to the attack boosts, as I'm sure you know by now, you are using your city defense when you fight against the enemy armies on the final encounter. We don't know all the attack boosts of the enemies yet, but we do have some numbers. So in the latest age, in Space Age Jupiter Moon, the first encounter has 449% attack boost, and the final encounter has 1,967% attack boost. So almost 2,000 attack boosts for the enemies. Again, you will be using your city defense. So in practice, I don't think hardly any players will have enough city defense to be able to fight your way through in Space Age Jupiter Moon. Now, if you go lower, I do know that in Industrial Age, it starts at around 100 attack on the first encounter, and it goes up to around 1,000 attack on the final encounter. And I believe in Iron Age, it starts at around 30% attack, I believe, and goes up to, I think it's around 700. Don't quote me on that, but roughly in that area. So in the lower ages, I think actually it'll be easier to fight in lower ages compared to the highest ages, but you do still need a lot of city defense to be able to do it. So I think for most players, at least for now, They have mentioned that they will be introducing more city defense from event buildings. We already see that in the anniversary event main building, in the wildlife event main building, and so on. So going forward, we should be able to slowly get more and more city defense. But at least for now, I think it probably will be easier to fight at least some fights in the lower ages. But yeah, once you get to the final encounters, it is probably going to be quite difficult to fight your way through. So for now, at least, you probably do have to negotiate most of the way through. Now there are some fortifications. I did go over those in my other videos, and my current assessment is that the vast majority of these are useless. So the defense boosts that you can get from these first and these fortifications, I don't think they are high enough to make that much of a bit difference. Perhaps if you are if you do need just slightly more attack to be able to win, then perhaps they can be helpful. But I think for now, these are not really that useful for most people if you are fighting. The one to infiltrate the army, I don't think it will be that impactful, but it could help. It could help, especially if you are right at the border of... So if you have roughly the same attack as the enemy has defense, you will be dealing between 4 and 6 damage. So if you infiltrate, it means that you are more likely to two-hit the enemy. More or less guaranteed to two-hit. Not exactly, but yeah. So I think this might be helpful. The infiltrate option might be helpful if you have just about the same attack as the enemy has defense. Otherwise, I'm not sure if it'll make much of a difference, but that's something you will have to figure out. The fortification to reduce the possible negotiation options by 1 is very helpful. I'm not sure if it saves you a lot of goods, but it does give you a much higher chance of successfully winning the negotiation without having to spend any diamonds. So I am getting this myself whenever I negotiate when this is an option, but you don't get it as an option that many times. And then finally, we have this fortification here to reduce negotiation costs. This one is not worth building at all unless you are not willing to spend diamonds. But even then, even if you do multiple negotiations, it's probably not going to be worth it for most encounters. So I would never recommend building this. It costs more to build it than you save by using it. So yeah, don't build the fortification that reduces the negotiation costs. At least in the current state, who knows, they might make some changes later on. And this final fortification here is not in use, so we don't have to talk about that. All right, so that's the kind of a quick overview of the resources you need. Let's now move on to have a quick look at how it looks like fighting your way through the Guild Expedition with higher age units. So here I am fighting in Industrial Age. As you can see, I have all the way up to Iron Age units. We can see the attack here is around 100, and my attack boosts are around 50 each. And as you can see here, I'm easily able to auto battle, of course, with these low amounts of boosts, not really a surprise. In some situations like this, we can see that there are quite a few Jaegers, which are quite a little bit tricky to win against with turtles. As you can see here, I did take a little bit of damage. So because of that, I decided that moving forward, when there were Jaegers, I would manually fight instead of auto fight. But whenever there weren't any Jaegers, I could just auto battle. No problem, didn't take any damage. So yeah, very nice. All right. So yeah, you can definitely see how easy this is in with higher age units, which, I don't know, it kind of sucks that you do. I think this is more or less the only way, right now at least, that you are able to win, to fight your way through all the levels. And I have these units, so for me, sure, it's nice for me, but it's a very big commitment to make. It takes some time to get these units if this is indeed what you want, so I don't know. Anyways, here you can see me continue fighting. Here I'm manually fighting against the Jaegers, and you can see there's no problem winning. I can easily win, but if I auto-fight, my units won't hit the Jaegers at first, and if the Jaegers hide in the forest, only my railguns can hit them, and I don't have that many railguns. But yeah. I think I will just let this play. I have around 13 or so more minutes of recording. So I will let it play. I will not be commentating through everything. You can see for yourself. I think I will pause it for a moment. I will thank my Patreons, and then I will let it play, and you can watch it if you want to, without commentary for me, and you can put on your favorite music. So, before I show that, let me thank my Patreons for their support. I would like to thank Homestar, Lorden, Kim Kelly, Rolf the 8th, Dan Tumnut, Chanti, Hekate, Dark Matter, Mylia, Merrick B, Hugo Kant von Kant, Dritter Drenet, Susan Weiss, Rocco, Spike from No Remorse, Merthen Emrys, Privacy Avenger, Ashborn, Arkler, Nova, Dribber, Ninja Alin, Henrik Derek Klerberg, Mattia, Adarel, Mike, Obsidi Obsessed, Atomic, Ruth, Flavius Belisarius, Karen, and Dennis. Alright, thanks a lot for your support. Thanks for watching. Again, if you want to continue watching, I will let this play again. And you can see me fighting my way through the guild expedition with higher aged units. Again, I do have another video where I negotiate my way through the entire guild expedition level 5 if you want to look at that. Put on your favorite music. I will mute myself, and I will see you in the future.